I'm very happy to see a lot of young people here because in a way my presentation is addressed to orang-orang muda, the youth. The older folks can understand a bit, but the target group is still the younger Malaysians, especially students and those with brand new ideas. So if I may, I'll just ask the question saja. Malaysian creative industry, the topic says Asian creative industry, but I think it's about the same. Myth or substance? When I say it's a myth, it's about an ambition that I've heard over the last 10 years. Malaysia has to be, one Malaysian movie must win an Oscar. I've heard it 10 years ago already. Malaysian TV programs, Malaysian film industry must reach international standards. We have a program called E-Village in the year 2000. Now dah jadi evil village because it swallowed 160 billion of government money, and all you have is a soundstage that nobody uses. We are, ladies and gentlemen, a brick and mortar obsessed country. We think we build a studio, everybody will come. We think we do this, spend millions here, millions there, and things will happen. Wrong. Because the substance that we are talking about is, first of all, let me talk about this industry which we are familiar with. What is really wrong with our whole creative industry punya landscape? I think it's time I can ask you, but you don't have to tell me whether I'm right? We are not good storytellers. Yes? I mean, we have a lot of stories, but we are lousy storytellers. What does that mean? Without the foundation of a story, what is this industry about? You build that. Even Pinewood in Johor is only to attract foreign productions. Yes? It's not about local. And then local production out of the blue, companies that get government funding couldn't produce anything that can make money. And suddenly a movie like The Journey, without government funding, made a lot of money. What does that tell you? By the way, I am working with MDEC. Some of the opinions today, you listen and you won't barrel because I'm not talking as an MDEC person. I'm just talking as someone who has gone through this for 14 years in this country. I remember the day when we were told develop the creative multimedia content industry way back in 1999. Ladies and gentlemen, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, there was a master plan, believe it or not. There was a master plan. Everything that I see today has elements of that master plan. But you know what went wrong? What happens when too many chefs are involved in masak di Bandung? Yeah? What happens when your steak panis is being cooked by 4 chefs? That is Malaysia's problem. Because when something becomes interesting, suddenly people, I don't know, it's hard to say, but I think it's very unique to Malaysia, where instead of building on things that have already been built, you build from ground zero again, as if nothing has happened previous years, right? Okay, so that one is just my mukadimah, starting point. I will now show you our good vibrations. You remember the Beach Boys, there was a song called Good Vibrations. So Malaysia punya shock sendiri is here. I mean bukan shock sendiri lah, shock bersama. Yes, international. We have Big Ten. You know the Big Ten company? They are licensing and merchandising. You know the Japanese doll called Domo? It's a Japanese product, but they make it into a worldwide seller in the United States. So Big Ten is here. Master, you know that? It's a games company from England. Their specialty is F1 games, high-end technology. And of course we have Pinewood Studio, the Iskandar. I mean, they have a booth here too. Now, animation. You have heard of Saladin, right? Saladin is the most unknown, well-known Malaysian product. It is unknown because very few people saw it on television here. But it is well known because it is the first Malaysian animation that went to the Emmy nomination in New York. So imagine that. This was New York in 2011. I first time on the red carpet because Saladin got a nomination, Emmy, you know. Desperate Housewives pun dapat Emmy punya nomination ni, tapi this is for animation. We went there. 4 orang saja from Malaysia. And you know why? Because Saladin was produced by MDEC, which happens to be under the Minister of Science and Technology. Now what happened if it's produced by under kebudayaan or culture? Satu kapal terbang nanti begini, berkompang-kompang all the way. Yes? We were in the wrong ministry. Because this country didn't see that as a Malaysian product. Each ministry is trying to outwit each other, and this is our problem. Inilah masalah kita. Saladin is about a Muslim hero. It is a co-production with Al Jazeera, and it got an Emmy nomination. Dalam newspaper ada, TV coverage. Saya pergi dekat US, sambutan sana lagi hebat. Sebab kat sana saya walk on the red carpet. Saya balik Malaysia dekat KLIA, saya walk on tarpaulin carpet masa nak keluar immigration. It's not that I am looking for glory, but did anybody come to talk to us? Hey, how did you bring Saladin to Emmy Award yesterday? Tidak. Instead, everybody else started to have their own way about how to do it. Inilah penyakit Malaysia. And after 15 years, I berani bercakap sebab I have the proof. War of the World's Goliath is our recent award winner. Also the most, I wouldn't say unknown, known lah. It was shown in Malaysia, tapi box office dia macam nak bayar dia punya transportation daripada bawa filem tu daripada Johor ke KL pun tak sampai. But in Los Angeles, it won awards. Today, if you go to US in Best Buy, you can see it on DVD, Blu-ray. Again, it shows one thing. Kalau tu artistic, kalau tu whatever, Malaysian thing, tak fan sangat tau. Maybe we just don't like our own things. I don't know. Of course, we have Open and Pin, success story, Bobo Boy, Jingo's Blues, everybody knows the one at the bottom here. But even with Open and Pin, we, 5 years, I think Haji Borhan was here earlier, or is it later? Later. He will tell you more of the story. But it took 5 years for these things to set up. 5-6 years. So if anyone were to come to me and they say that they can develop a film industry or a games industry in 2 years, by spending billions of dollars, I would like to invite them to come for a panel discussion, because we have enough evidence to say that money and investment of that nature is not necessarily the way to build the industry, which means it is a myth. Sorry. We also have all these sort of companies. I think everybody knows Life of Pi was done here. Yes? Life of Pi was done in Sarijaya, not the whole movie, the limau. The tiger was done in Sarijaya by Malaysians. But unfortunately, with them and Hughes in LA, went bankrupt. So Malaysia tutup. But not to worry, the people involved in it are still around. Yes? We have KRU, of course, who has been producing one after another of, okay, they try. I mean, I'm not saying they will win Oscar every time, but they try. Who knows? You have to try. Mobile and games. Where am I? Okay. So, the other good vibration is that there's so much funds in this country. Duit melimpah. We have MSC, where I work. We have Finas. We even have recently, we announced this thing called Magic. You heard about Magic, right? It's for startup companies and all that, etc. We have a lot of government support. We have CHIL. The one right at the end, CHIL, is a scholarship. You ask Profima, a group of stuntmen and ballistics are now in Australia. Why do we do that? Can't we say any shock to ballistics? No, because to prepare for the day when production companies from all over the world come to Malaysia. Apa dia soalan yang pertama? Do you want them to bring their own stuntmen? Or do we now say we have our own stuntmen, right? Do you want a production that comes from US to bring 100 crew? Because Malaysia, you don't have wardrobe designer, production designer, set designer. So that's what it's all about. CHIL has sent people for training on visual effects, makeup effects, macam mana nak bunuh orang, pisau, tipu, semua and all that, including production design. Then we have our MAC3 funds. MAC3 fund is an animation focus. So a lot of projects like macam Bobo Boy, Sumani are all funded under MAC3. Then we have DCI2, which is more focused on development. Development ke mana pembikinan skrip dan sebagainya. And of course we have ICON, which is reserved for apps, mobile apps. So, after saying all that, we now say, okay, let's look at the reality of the figures. This is what Malaysia spending on film, entertainment, television, license fees, video game, dan sebagainya. Okay, maybe the middle two is not so relevant, but the top one and the bottom. Malaysia is spending a lot of money. And this is the price the government has been putting into this industry for 5 years. You kira lah, close to 1 billion ringgit. My question is that, what has that 1 billion produced? Produced a lot of excitement, produced a lot of people who for some reason, I ask a question, how many of you yang betul-betul nak buat film or nak write script yang tak ada chance nak dapat duit? And how many yang tak reti nak buat film, yang tak reti nak buat ni semua dapat duit? Okay lah, I mean I suppose I'm being a bit direct there. And this is what I find. The real artists, the real genuine artists, the young people, for some strange reason, they are not aware of the funds. Anyone boleh kata, siapa yang tak aware of this kind of funds? There must be a lot, right? You may not want to admit it. Either that or you know the funds exist, but you say, alamak, susah lah to apply for these funds. Macam-macam paperwork nak kena printing cover. Well, it is true. I must admit, we are also the culprit. And you know why? Because this is government money. This is grant, free money. You tak payah bayar balik. So because of that, the paperwork is commensurate with, but this is what I noticed over the last 10 years. For some strange reason, some companies in Malaysia, they keep on coming back for the grant again and again and again. Isn't this supposed to be a business? The business means you need only the beginning, the startup. After that, bro, you're on your own. Yes? It's fair, kan? And the reason why I'm saying this is not because I'm making any criticism. It's just that the money is actually to keep on going to the new batch of people yang to come next. But I can tell you, some companies, they keep on coming back. And sometimes I wonder, if you keep coming back, that means what? Whatever products you have done have not been selling. Story no good. Yes? Two, you haven't got a marketing plan. Upin and Ipin had an excellent marketing plan. They ended up in Indonesia. You see, they go where the eyeballs are. Malaysia, 26 million, kan? You buat your cartoon or whatever comic, you only have 26 million people looking at it. Kalau semua nak tengok lah. So at the most 5-6 million you want to see. You get a country like China or Indonesia, you have how many million people? App download pun cukup lah kan. That's how millionaires are created from downloads and all that. So basically what I'm saying is that the companies who keep on coming back for money and money and money, one, don't want to spend their own money. It's been like buka kedai, restoran. Kalau you punya apa tu, your mi Bandung tak sedap, what do you do? But when it comes to government money, it's okay. So I am giving my own personal view. As a result of too much government funds, we are taking away the risk factor from the individual. And in this industry, it is the risk that produce the masterpieces. Not a complacent situation where, oh, tak apa. My movie lasts for only 3 days at GSC, tak apa. After that, ada Astro first. If you're going to keep on making your content just along those lines, that is the myth. Forget about Oscar, forget about anything. We just make movies just for ourselves and for Astro first. I mean, I am sorry to say that, but that is the reality. And the younger people, social media, ideas, we now have things better than just the screen in the cinema, right? You have channels, you have that, and yet these are the very group of people who I believe have not benefited from some of this. And it is my wish that somehow we have to stop. And why that is good news today? Because MDEC, FINAS, SKMM are all under one ministry now. You know that, right? Sebelum ni, MDEC bawah Science and Technology, FINAS semua bawah another ministry. So insyaAllah, now that we are under one roof, satu bapa, maybe the policy can be implemented. Okay. This is just an example to show the number of films produced in Malaysia. We got this from FINAS. Let's look at 2013. 71 films produced. 2012, 76. How many of you are not aware we make so many films? We are high producing films, you know. But so is Nigeria. So is it quantity or quality? Which one are we talking about? Yes, we are very impressed. Production costs, but look at average box office collection per title. Average. I'm showing this not to have any negative feelings about our group of filmmakers, because I know potentially they have in their heads global ideas. It's just that somehow the funding system here, the way banks treat you, at the end of the day, this industry, you think what? You say you're a filmmaker and a lawyer. Which one has more of the womb? Tell me. Your children besok kata, Ma, I nak jadi 3D animator. What will you say? Oi, 3D animator itu macam mana? Kau nak kahwin tu, siapa nak jaga anak you? baik jadi lawyer, baik jadi politician. See, this industry itself is not seen in the right light. And then if you look at the celebrity side of things, this industry is full of scandals. Because we want to be so much like Hollywood. Ini apa, saya pun tak ingat nama dia, Jennifer Aston, kamu budak semua. Oh, tiga, I'm pregnant, I don't know who my father is. I mean, who the father is. So basically, we are only going for the glamour side of things without looking at the substance part of things. So it is a myth. And it's not in Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, sama lah. I met some people from Thailand who told me, yes, Ombak made us famous, but we didn't make any money out of it. Yes, because this world is very complex, the funding way. But never mind, people believe in Ombak. At least they can open up a few more multi-millionaire clusters in along Los Angeles, California and all that. So they have exported their culture. So it's high time for Malaysia to do the same thing. And it's not about ROI, you know. Don't forget, it's not really about just getting box office back. It's about reputation. Animation companies in the MSC, we were not making profit until 2013. This is animation. And I tell you what happened during 2011 to 2013. We told the animation companies, stop making animation for the local market. Make your animation local, but exportable. So that someone in Finland can watch a local cartoon and understand. Yes, simple. And we also encouraged during that period this thing called co-production. Why is co-production important? You are the dual markets. Yes, we have co-production with Korea. You finish the product, Korea can market, Malaysia can market. Now I hope to sustain that profit now, especially at the exports. You know, our exports is steadily increasing. In fact, I'll be honest with you, Malaysia is well known today for animation than for film. Now, is it because of a secret formula? It is about 8 years of penetrating market, and remember, this industry is a relationship-based industry. The people who are going to distribute your products in France and all that are your friends. No such thing as spending money, go for 3 days in Cannes and then expect market tu pintu dah terbuka. Wrong. That is the myth. Okay, this one I'm just trying to say, basically, when the government invests in the technology, it is actually not just for entertainment. If you look at the top there, animation today in Malaysia is only meant for entertainment. But you know, medical can also use the 3D animation as well. A good story can also be used to tell people how to be religious and for culture. If you want to show somebody nak solat, nak pergi haji, isn't it good to do a 3D simulation of the Hajj and all that? And guess what do they use? Animation. When soldiers are having mock exercise, war and all that, what do they use? Simulation. And what is simulation? 3D animation. And when you play a game, ladies and gentlemen, game tu apa dia? It's a virtual simulation based on the 3D technology. That's what the bigger picture is. So what we're saying is, we are spending more time on entertainment because entertainment is the most sexy, kan? If I tell you what does MTech want, if I tell you what exhibition want, you wouldn't know because it's about oil and gas. Tapi kalau cakap boy semua orang tahu, because that's the most sexy. Anyway, this is the real agenda that we have. If you look at the bottom there, Dr. Namapan, you will find that the global demand for content, you see the figures there. It's all in billion. Malaysia punya demand is in billion, transfer is about 3, hovering around 3. So that is Malaysia punya demand, that is the world demand. Who is going to meet Malaysia punya demand? All that we're trying to do is to meet our demand from local. But we can also meet the demand for the world, right? That's why I mentioned about export just now. And I think people should understand this. If you export, you are going to get your ringgit back. Otherwise, this is what happens. When RTM goes digital with 400 channels or whatever, guess how many of those channels will be showing local things? You will be swarmed international by foreign things. And that is the greatest danger. Okay, here I nak macam piece of trivia sikit. I'm sure some of you are too young to remember John Wayne. John Wayne, siapa tahu John Wayne? Yes. When I was in my teens, and don't forget, once upon a time, we were teens. John Wayne in the movies has only one message to me. Cowboy are the good guys, red Indians are very bad. So for 5 years, cowboy baik, red Indian jahat. And why not? In the movies, the red Indians are shown as savage, wild people, tak pakai baju and all that. It took another 9 years to discover, hey, actually, these Americans, these Europeans, they went to a country that already belonged to the red Indians. And they were wiping the red Indians out. And it took a movie like Soldier Blue and all that to come up to show the things correctly. What I'm telling you is that any reporter berani tell me 5 years later whether that happens or not, because this is what happened 5 years later. There's a news to say that due to financial difficulties, this institution or this facility has been closed. In Amdak, it happened. I had a virtual reality center that was built for 21 million, and it was closed 8 years later. You know why? Every year when I asked for maintenance, I was asked to justify. And the number of pages to justify was getting more and more. Yes? You make a building, it is the same thing like property developers here. They have a big poster that says quality living. What they don't show you, kalau they zoom backwards sikit saja, they find the little girl is playing around 15-story, 20-story building around them. Sini kan, property developer pantang nak tengok apa. They say they know quality of life, but the only thing they know is the quality of money. Anybody from Sanjami here? Talk to you later. Okay. Where should funding be channeled? Okay, this one may be a bit too academic, but what I'm saying is that if you ask me, forget about the brick and mortar studio, this one. That is the one we should be spending our money on. Look, the creative environment. George Lucas has a story. I wake up one morning and I have this idea about R2D2 and C3PO. That is that stage. Ideas. So what am I saying? We give more funds to writers, to ideas. Producer dekat Malaysia, the problem is that for some strange reason, most producers want to make money out of the production, not the product. In other countries, you put your heart and soul and money into the production supaya produk tu boleh ada nyawa, yes, beyond dia punya nyawa yang so that the movie can become a TV, the TV series can become a game, the game can become a comic. Right? We are living in a transmedia world. How many games do you know have now become movies? How many movies do you know have spin-off games? How many comics that are in TV series and how many comics that are so convergence? And if we do not recognize this, that's why we have so much problems in Asia today. Because yang banyak-banyak chef, sous chef, the chef, the high chef, semua pandai. And I'm not standing here saying I pandai. What I'm saying is that we would like to share what we have gone through. But for some strange reason, nobody wants to know. And you know why? Because maybe, ultimately, the intention is not to make this industry a success. You know what I mean, right? You give somebody who loves this industry to develop the industry. It is a loss of honor if he doesn't do the job. But if you give this industry's development to people who is not interested in developing the industry, who cares? Yes? Betul. Especially yang muda tu setuju lah because I am about to retire anyway in a few months time. And that's why I berani cakap macam ni. Production capacity. You know kita punya baju semua ni kan, brand dia Calvin Klein. Yes? Made in Bangladesh. Nike shoes made in China. All the Mattel toys made in China. What is the significance of that? The production capacity itu is the least of our problems. That's why I said in the very beginning, Nike is produced the shoe design, is produced kat situ. IP creation, Star Wars, Transformers, everything is all at that level. Malaysia focus in the center to get things ready. At least for MDEC, we encourage outsourcing. You know what outsourcing is, kan? Yes? We go out to US and say, hey, your 10 minutes of your special effects, we do it in Malaysia. Our idea is when the Malaysians do it, then they'll say, oh, this is how we do the visual effects for Paramount Pictures. Dulu I used to do it only for RTM. RTM punya standard macam ni. Ini nak buat kat Disney Channel, standard macam ni. That's what we were trying to do. So, production capacity in Malaysia, believe it or not, is excellent already now. It took us 14 years, but it is good. Malaysian companies are now doing animatics for Japanese games. Itu dia standard. So production is not a problem. So that's why every time when people spend more money to build studios and all that, we say, okay, good. But you don't have to worry about that. Because the one that is lacking number one, how many creative people try to get funds? Berapa pintu yang kena ketuk sekarang? Just to get an idea up. There's nobody sitting down to listen. Hey, what's your idea? Try. You want to go to Media Prima? Anybody from Media Prima? Nobody? Okay, never mind. Astro? Nobody? Okay. Okay, it doesn't matter. You try lah. You go to Astro, Media Prima, RTM. Just for a young person to say, hey, I have an idea about something. Okay, not necessarily young, but as long as young at heart. Yeah. But where is the idea counseling punya process in this country? Yes, government is spending 1 billion to only make. Tapi yang peram depan tu, yes, you nak pergi bank lagi bagus. Oh, I have an idea for, katalah 10 years ago, I have an idea for X-Files. Pergi kat bank, X-Files, dia kata, ini you boleh prepare your cash flow forecast tak? How can you cash flow forecast on an idea? You can't. So in other words, kalau Malaysian methodology is applied to New York and America, there will be CSI. There won't be Game of Thrones. There won't be Desperate Housewives. Because all these great programs that have now become popular icons came up from somebody's brain. Yes? I have this thing about when ideas are coming out today. In Malaysia today, kesian. Some people have got good ideas, and then when they go and meet these television stations, they are afraid. The TV stations will ask them, can you leave us your thumb drive? My own son tried to get a mixed martial arts program out into the market 3 years ago. I told him, don't tell people you are my son. So he went back. Yes? Suddenly today, mixed martial arts is now a big thing, right? So he will say, look, by the time when he went, nobody wants to listen. So I have evidence. And don't forget, all these artistic people are bakal-bakal pengundi. Sorry, I couldn't help. This is rubbing the egg. The artists of today who are 18-year-old, 17-year-old, bakal-bakal pengundi. They don't know what to do. Like, okay, don't quote that for me, but so creative capacity, delivery capacity, these are the two areas that we want to focus on from now. Tengah-tengah itu, marketing capacity is associated with the quality. You have good quality, you can market. Simple as that. Then delivery. Okay, this is straightforward. This is how MDEC is building the industry, or is building, has built the animation industry based on this. I know this is academic skills, but all we're telling you is obvious. I've touched on that before. The new funding framework that we have done recently in Los Angeles and Paris is to make Malaysian banks become more friendly to this industry. Whether it will work or not, I don't know. But we have to make an attempt. You know why we have to make an attempt? Because the government have told us government money will be getting less and less from now. This industry has to survive on its own. Because the reality is like this, kalau government stop giving money today, how many companies do you think will go bankrupt? Tutup kedai, 90%. So our main challenges. Number 3 is interesting because currently right now apart from MDEC, there are 6 other agencies all having money. Bersepah-sepah. Number 5, how many agree that local broadcasters are not playing a role? Yes, you're honest. A lot of people feel that. You know why they are not playing a developmental role? Why do you think? They are not playing a developmental role because they have subsidiaries supplying them content. In any other country, a broadcaster only broadcasts. The content must be from the free market. You remember the case last time, the end of show broadcast last time? Remember? They call it antitrust. One company makes the movie, one company distributes the movie, the same company exhibits. So they call it monopoly. So break monopoly, this is what happens. Number 6 is also very important. Because for some reason we make horror stories that cannot frighten the ties. Orang Malaysia saya takut kalau kita hantu kita. Orang lain kita, other countries cakap, yes, Malaysian films are not horror, but horrible. We make comedies that only we can laugh. And yet when somebody saw the 3 Idiots with me, they say, we also can do this lah. Then Malaysia be famous yang tu lah. We can also do that. You see something simple like Blair Witch Project, we can also do that. Do lah. Why we have to, to follow? We can start a trend. Now, until today I hear, oh, we must promote Silat to the world. Tell me, what? Tell me, what? Because it's not about exporting Silat, it's about finding the right story in which to put the Silat in. Ombak was not intended to be to sell Muay Thai as per se. It's a story, and in the story you have that. That's why Mantanito is important. In fact, if I had my way, I would stop all production funding and just give funding for development. And you know why? Because once you have developed your script and all that, there are many funds even outside Malaysia that are willing to look at your scripts. So maybe out of 10, 2, 3 might be successful. Who knows? Okay. I apologize for going beyond my time, but this is what you call penutup. In conclusion, after saying all that, I apologize as I touched on sensitive areas, but all I wanted to say is that after 10 years, I really feel the first statement is correct. Lindsay Anderson is a British film director. In the end, the artist will always be on his own. Macam I have suffered in silence. I can identify with the last temptation of Christ, that kind of thing. But number 2 is the most accurate, sad fact for this country. I will complain pasal ini, but at the end of the day, somebody had already said it a long time ago. The most horrible thing about life is everybody has their reasons. Everybody thinks what they're doing is good and noble and all that. Maybe we are a country yang tak boleh accept criticism. We can't even laugh at ourselves. Yes? A country that can laugh. We are so serious sometimes. And this is the industry that is supposed to break the thing. Who says kalau nak buat perpaduan you must always have a movie about Achok, Ahmad and Raju? Come on. There are more ways of doing that. We can make movies about the emergency in Malaysia, where the victims are Chinese, Malays, Indian, where the communists also can. It's all about that kind of thing. But why are we ready to do all this? So I come back to my first question. We can't do that because we don't have a good writer. We may have a good writer, but we're not giving the money to them. We're giving them to the half-baked writers instead. I'm sure we have wonderful writers in this country. Because no one could adapt a book. Who can adapt the War of the Running Dogs now, right? Turn it into a movie. Then after having written the script, who's going to write, who's going to produce? Malaysia, famous guy. I can always direct. What's wrong if you ask somebody else to direct? Sometimes I say, why can't the script be written by a foreigner? Sometimes. So when you make a production, you need some good guidelines, and these are the kind of things that we should be doing right now. Otherwise, this industry is, you might as well wait for the 400 channels that's coming with the digital, when RTM goes digital, and you'll find it will only be important programs. And that is something that we hope we can avoid. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I know that I've gone beyond my time, so I don't know whether you are going to open up for questions and answers. But the good news is that we are already getting somewhere, and you know that. We have all these good vibrations. Now the idea is to bring it into an even higher plane. But all I'm saying is that it cannot be done if we do business as usual. And at least from the abstract part, we will have to relook at all this in a slightly more commercial way. In other words, developmental and commercial. Previously, it was all developmental. Now we have to see commercial, because we have been asked to tell back to the government after spending so much, what do we have? Don't tell me after spending that much we only have Upin and Ipin, which is the most famous icon in the Kanihan Foundation. What? I'm sure you've heard about movies as well. Hanyong. I mean, we have good directors, Dead Side, many more. The one who did The Journey. But this is a very good example. The Journey is a good example. No government support, make money. Those we have supported, don't make money. Come on, something is wrong with the picture, right? Okay, so with that, tuan-tuan dan puan, terima kasih kerana sudi mendengar apa ni liputan tech kali ini. And I thank you for being a patient audience. And I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.